Hunter Biden expected to testify behind closed doors on December 13th over any of the family business dealings in question from Republicans. His lawyer now pushing for the House Oversight Committee to make his testimony public, accusing Republicans of wanting a closed-door hearing to, quote, misinform the public. Oversight Chair James Comer says Biden wants to play by his own rules. White House columnist for The Hill, Niall Stanage, just wrote about this for The Hill. How convenient. We're grateful you're here, Niall. There's a USA Today article. I want to get to yours, but there's a USA Today article out, an opinion article out that just launched. The headline reads, Republicans don't want Hunter Biden to testify publicly because truth is scary. Do you agree with that?
I think it's a difficult political position to argue against public testimony in anything. I think most Americans, whatever their political views, generally prefer to see stuff for themselves rather than rely upon the accounts given about that event later by Republicans or Democrats. So in that sense, I think it is advantageous to have open testimony. And I think it's probably politically advantageous for Hunter Biden's lawyer to make this offer.
Well, speaking of his lawyer and speaking of what Republicans and Democrats think about all of this, first, the top Democrat on the panel. Again, this is a GOP-led effort, but there are both Republicans and Democrats involved here. Jamie Raskin slammed the GOP, saying that by rejecting the public hearing, they don't have confidence in their own case. Does this perception damage these Republicans' efforts?
Yes, I think it probably does. The caveat that I would immediately put on it is the Hunter Biden case is so polarized by its nature that there may not be that many persuadable voters in the middle. But, I mean, just as a general human principle, if one is confident in something, one generally doesn't have that much problem making it public. If you are perceived to be hiding something away, trying to keep the spotlight off it, saying to voters, we don't want you to see it, we'll tell you what happened. I think that's a bad position to be in. So I think for those sliver of voters who are persuadable in this, it's a bad look for Republicans.
Well, it's a bad look for Hunter Biden, too. You talk about in your column the fact that Hunter has filed lawsuits now against the likes of, say, Rudy Giuliani. But there are a number of people. We put them on the screen. He's emboldened, it seems, just in the past several days. Is that aggression, that stance, that boldness, something that will help or hinder his case, especially just in the public eye?
That question really cuts to the heart of the matter. There are clearly risks in what Hunter Biden is doing. He is getting involved in sort of rhetorical combat with Republicans. That, as we say in our business, gives legs to the story. It ramps up the controversy around it. It commands more headlines and more discussions like this. Generally speaking, for Hunter Biden's father, the president, any day that Hunter is in the news is typically not a good day. That's the downside to all of this. Hunter Biden and his team have clearly made the calculation that they can't just lie on the ropes in boxing terms and let Republicans pound away. They have to punch back. I see why they think that. But yes, it does have downsides for sure.
One could argue that this is a tactic that the former president has used, former President Trump, in wanting cameras to be in the courtrooms. Obviously, with all of the indictments that he's facing, there are a lot of eyeballs. The American people believe, many of them believe, that they should have a right to know what's going on. Should we have the same treatment of Hunter Biden, who some say doesn't have the gravitas, or in this case doesn't have the gravitas to demand so much attention, and yet because it's tied or could be tied to the sitting president, we should?
I think I'm a reporter. I'm always going to argue for greater openness, right? I mean, I think that if you have these things in the open, it lets the public see who has the stronger case in either of these instances. I get that there are downsides to having TV cameras. And one of the chief downsides is, do people play to the cameras? This debate has been going on for a generation. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the O.J. Simpson trial and the similar debates around that. But the point is it better to have public scrutiny of events than things happening behind closed doors? I would personally always favor public scrutiny over the other option.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.